Hi, in this video we're going to talk about the word offset and some tools that use offsets. Starting off, I'm going to take this image, just a simple shape, and I'm going to create a work plane. A plane is just a flat surface. I'm going to create a plane that we can draw on, use as our sketch surface, but I'm going to have it be offset. And by offset, I mean a certain distance away from one of the planes that I can actually select from this image. Right now, I'm constrained to kind of choosing between these surfaces, and maybe that's not where I want to be drawing in three-dimensional space. I do have a couple other options if I come back to the origin, okay, in my browser, expand it. I can figure out where the X, Y, Y, Z, X, Z, etc. where these planes lie, but maybe those aren't planes that I want to draw on either. Okay, so I'm kind of limited to the original three plus these, unless I use this drop down here, kind of in work features. There's a whole set of options under plane. One of them is called offset from plane. So this is going to create a work plane that's some selected distance away from one of our planes that we can select, whether it be one in the model or one in the browser, one of these. So I could also choose one of these here. Okay, so I was going to choose this face right here and do an offset from it. So I'm going to come under here and say offset from plane. I'm going to choose this surface. Once I select it, you can see that I get an arrow and I get a box asking for a distance. I can either type that in or I can pull this out. So we might be wanting some specific distance, like say 3/4 of an inch, etc. And so that is one application of where the word offset shows up. Let's look at another. So I'm going to hit Start New Sketch. I'm going to start on here. And just kind of embedded in here, we'll throw in another tool. There's also this ProjectGeometry where we can take geometry that's in the background, not on this sketch. Right now I said New Sketch and technically I'm drawing on this surface. If I make a shape, okay, where is it existing? If I start drawing lines, they are going to be on that surface. Okay, that's where I'm at right now. Make Control Z to undo that. But let's say there's geometry that I can see kind of back behind that, and I'd like to bring it forward and kind of copy it onto this surface. Well, I can use ProjectGeometry to project it forward onto that screen. So maybe this surface, all these edges, I'm going to choose the whole surface. I could choose just an edge as a reference line, but if I highlight the whole face, all those edges are going to project onto my drawing. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so now I have this shape on my drawing sheet, and this is where I'm going to use another tool that's called the Offset tool. So you can see I'm in the Sketch tab, and in this Modify panel, there's a tool called Offset. And what it does is it kind of copies the geometry of whatever you select, but allows you to copy it in an offset in a manner that you're going to, it's like tracing but keeping a set distance around the perimeter. So let's go ahead and try. I'm going to choose offset, and then I'm going to choose this sketch, and then I'm going to pull in or pull out so it knows, do I want to offset this by a smaller amount or by a bigger amount? Okay, once I'm on the right side, then I can type, like it's at 0.063, let's say 0.15. I'll hit tab to kind of resize it, okay, and then it knew that I want to be smaller. I hit enter. Now if I want to be bigger, I would have pulled it to the bigger size before I would type in my 0.15 measurement. Okay, so now I've got that sketch, finish sketch, and from there there's different things that, perhaps I could have done with it. But that's an offset tool. So offset in general basically means some set distance that we're going to be away from where things would normally have lined up. So if our offset were 0 there, as we offset that shape, we would have gotten the exact same shape. Okay, had we created a work plane with an offset of 0, we would have been still on that surface. Okay, let's switch to an assembly mode. Offset shows up here as well. So I've got a couple constraints already in place between these two puzzle pieces. So I'm going to just grab and show you that the white is my grounded part and the green is sliding right now along the Z axis, and that's it. I can't pull it up and along the Y, it won't slide along the X. Basically, if I added one more constraint, like maybe flushing these two, this thing would be locked down. Okay, well, let's go ahead and try that. So if I go to constrain, I'm in my mates, I'm going to make a flush, and if I choose this and this surfaces that are both facing in the same direction, okay, it flushed those, and the green part, if I go ahead and apply and OK, close it, I'll be able to click on and drag it, and it won't move. But inside this menu, notice that I've got the word offset again, right here. So offset keeps popping up. An offset of 0 would mean that the specified distance from where these are supposed to line up is going to be 0. So they'll stay lined up. But I can put in a specific offset. I can intentionally say from this point of reference where these two things would or should line up, I intentionally want to offset or bump out some set distance. So perhaps we want that little lip of 1/4 inch. Apply, close that, and you'll see that the offset's been created. I try to click and hold and drag the green. It doesn't move. So I did in fact create, and I'll be able to see it, that flush constraint. Okay, so it's there, and it will move. Notice though in my browser that they did add this parenthesis listing a distance, and that's because as I flush the two surfaces, I specified something other than 0. Notice my first two constraints, there's nothing there. Now if I click on that, down here, the offset actually is something without having to say edit feature I can get to really quick. So if I ever want to modify that offset, okay, I can pop in there, type it in, hit enter, and see how that affects my model. Okay, so there's 3 different ways, kind of 3 different places where the word offset shows up in Inventor. I'm sure you'll find some more as well, but now you have a framework, kind of an understanding of what that word offset means.